packetus in the course of running down achievements of the UPA government. Since he is so obviously fond of packetus, I hope he will not mind if I quote some packetus back at him. Packetus also said, and I quote, "When men are full of envy, they disparage everything, whether it be good or bad." Mr. Chairman, sir, the Honorable Leader of the Opposition is a wise and discerning person. I appeal to his better sense to make a judgment about the performance of the UPA government in considering wider national interests and not merely in the pursuit of a mere political point. Sir, Shri Jaitley made a powerful speech, and I listened with great interest to the points that he has made. This first point with which I agree that our country needs a growth rate of 8 to 9% if we are to get rid of chronic poverty and large-scale unemployment of our youth. He's also right when he said that this would require a rapid pace of industrialization. I also agree with this point, and I would like to remind this House that this is precisely the intention of the UPA government, and way back in early 90s when the Congress government was in power, we opened up our economy, we adopted a path of economic reforms with a view to create an environment conducive to rapid industrialization and on terms and conditions whereby India's goods would find ready space elsewhere in the world. At that time also, there were lots of doubts about the wisdom of the government, and I recall debates in both houses when members of the opposition rose to criticize the budget that I presented in '92 as having been made in Washington and not in Delhi. But since then, sir, there have been 3 governments. The Congress government went out of office in '96, was followed by a United Front government, later by a BJP NDA government, and the fact that despite changes in government, the rise of left parties, the rise of Bharatiya Janata Party and its allies, there was no change in the direction of reforms. All political parties, whatever they may say in opposition, have sworn by economic reform, and that our country needs economic reform to realize its full developmental potential. I sincerely hope and trust that when the leader of the opposition and his colleagues reflect calmly on the situation that we have dealt with in our present incarnation, he would come to the conclusion that the path that we have chosen is the right path. Honorable Leader of the Opposition started by saying that the UPA inherited a fast-growing economy and we have made a mess of it. I would like to remind the Honorable Leader of the Opposition that the government of which he was a distinguished member was from 1999 to 2003-2004, and if I look at the data of growth rates in 98-99, the growth rate of the economy was 6.7%. In 99-2000, it was 7.6%. In 2000-2001, it was 4.3%. 2001-2002, 5.5%, and 2002-2003, 4%. And it's only in 2003-04 that the growth rate picked up, and we had a growth rate of 8.1%. By contrast, if you look at the 9 years of the UPA, in 2004-05, growth rate of the economy was 7%. In 2005-06, 9.5%. In 2006-07, 9.6%. 2007-08, 9.3%. In 2008-09, 6.7%. 2009-10, 8.6%. 2010-2011, 9.3%. 2011-12, 6.2%. It's only in the current year, 2012-13, that the growth rate will fall to 5%. Sir, as the Honorable Finance Minister has pointed out in his budget speech, we do not believe that the slow growth will come to stay where it is today. We have every intention to use all policy instruments to push up the growth rate, and it is our expectation that in the next 2 or 3 years, the economy can once again bounce back to a growth rate of 7 to 8%. Sir, what was the main point made by the Honorable Leader of the Opposition? He said, we created first the crisis, and now we are trying to resolve this crisis. His reference was obviously was to the expenditure that were incurred by the UPA government in the course of last 9 years to bring a social balance in our patterns of spending, to pay greater attention to social sectors of the economy. Sri Jaitley very sarcastically said that the UPA government first increased expenditure in an unbridled fashion and now wants to take credit for enforcing financial discipline. Sir, we are proud of expanding expenditure in the social sector. We are proud of increasing spending in programs that ensure access to health and education for the common man, and particularly for the weaker sections of our society. We are proud of increasing spending in programs that provide livelihood security to the poor. We are proud of making all sincere efforts for fulfilling our commitment for inclusive growth. Look at the health sector. We have increased expenditure from about rupees 7,500 crore in 2003-04, which was the last year of the NDA government, to about 27,000 crore in the year 2011-12. This is a 3.5 times increase in Service Shiksha Abhiyan, where the expenditure has gone up 7.5% from 2,730 crores in 2003-04 to rupees 20,841 crores in 2011-12. The results are for everyone to see. And I do not wish to cite here all the indicators that reflect our successes. Let me also say to this August House that we will continue supporting these schemes and programs. Sir, Shri Jaitley referred to programs initiated by the NDA government. Whatever good programs were there, we have carried them forward. Take, for example, the case of the Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan. In 2003-2004, the actual estimate of expenditure was 2,730 crores, whereas in 2012-2013, it was 21,907 crores. Statement with regard to the midday meal program, from small amounts in 2003-04, rupees 1,375 crores. In the current year, the expenditure will be 9,890 crores. I could go on. I could The point that I wish to make, sir, is that during the NDA period, there was token provision, although great names were used, the Pradhan Mantri's Gram Sadak Yojana, this program, that program, but the amount of money that was allocated to these programs was very, very small, and therefore their capacity to make impact in the areas where spending was to be targeted, devoted, was pretty small. Take, for example, the case of the PMGSY. 2001 to 2003, for the NDA period, the releases were 9,682 crores. From 2009-10 to 2012-13 in UPA 2, 56,251 crores. In UPA 1, 2004-5 to 2008-9, rupees 38,637 crores. Whether you look at rural development or you look at infrastructure, including the road program, the National Highway Authority is working, there has been a tremendous increase in spending under the UPA government. We are not ashamed of that. There may be some problems with regard to the way the program is being managed. There are bound to be difficulties, particularly when large sums of money are being spent for the first time. I do not deny that there are problems, but these are problems of growing up. These are problems of a fast-growing economy trying to realize its full development potential. And therefore, I would respectfully submit to the Honorable Leader of the Opposition that he should be more objective in assessing the performance of the UPA government. Whether it is growth rates, whether we are dealing with agricultural development, whether we are dealing with the pace of industrialization, the record of the UPA speaks for itself, and I don't have to go deep into this matter. So, Shri Arun Jaitley referred to the problem of terrorism, the role of National Center for Control of Terrorism. I believe there are no 2 points of view that we should not make any compromise with terrorism. And I sincerely hope and believe that when it comes to dealing with terrorism, all political parties will speak with one voice, and it will be our effort that in order to bring about a broad national consensus, we will work with the state government to give meaning and substance to the proposal of the NCTC. With regard to the developments in Jammu and Kashmir, I would once again say to this House that our policy is policy based on evolved national consensus, that we will not do anything which is against the national interest, that in formulating our policies, the well-being of the people of Jammu and Kashmir will be always a paramount interest, consistent with the requirements of national economy and national polity.
राज्यसभा में प्रधानमंत्री डॉक्टर मनमोहन सिंह को आप सुन रहे थे।